words about me and then what I'm doing, and then we can pass by. So I'm Nini Khuroshvili. I'm from Georgia. I was born in Tbilisi and raised here. And my interest with the self-publishing started quite some time ago, maybe 6 years ago. And I will tell a bit more about it a bit later. But yeah, it was like, for me, it was more the way I could express myself without any borders. And since the different mediums of arts were interesting for me, I could unite all of them together in the book. So that was the reason why I was so interested in self-publishing. And nowadays I'm interested in more like research topics, like in feminism and in ecology and in environmental movement. So yeah, that's me so far, maybe. And now we can maybe somebody else wants to.
Yeah, maybe I'll continue. You do understand Russian, right?
Yeah,
so if some people want to introduce themselves in Russian, yeah, you
sure.
Okay. So hello everyone, my name is Kanaim, and I am from Bishkek School of Contemporary Art. I'm one of the alumni of the ArtEast School of Contemporary Art. I'm in Bishkek now. I'm also a teacher, and I was one of the contributors to one of Nini's zines 2 years ago. Yes, that's it probably. Who wants to go next? Бермет, может, продолжишь?
I think hello, my name is Bermet. It's everything almost the same as Kanaim. So I'm also was alumni of the School of Contemporary Art ArtEast, and now today we run our new platform, Bishkek School of Contemporary Art. I'm artist and creator, and also a lot of my art practice is now dedicated to ecology. That's why I'm also very interested in your practices. And just saying a bit more that we are going. I really like your work with this ARALASH zine, and I didn't had a chance to meet you when you were in Bishkek, unfortunately, because I was living a lot of time not in Kyrgyzstan. But I'm really happy that we have meeting today, and I really hope that we, together with our members of the school, we can continue this zine and maybe make another edition. So thank you.
Thank you.
Кто хочет продолжить? Равшан, ты здесь? Может быть, кто-то еще? Цинат?
Okay, my name is Sinat. I'm quite new to this sphere. I'm also the alumni of the Contemporary School of Contemporary Art, ArtEast of this year. And I'm really glad to. In answering to your question why I joined this meeting, the main reason is that in the beginning of October, I'm going to launch together the verses or poems for a zine. Actually, I was introduced just recently, but I got so inspired and interested in that I would like to try to publish the first zine, which will be designed, the layout done mainly by me, and so this meeting. This meeting just to share the concept and discuss and find others who would be interested in join in collaboration to develop. So we can. Yeah.
Thank you, Zainat. I think we could not hear, like, maybe can you repeat like last few sentences you said?
Okay, actually I switched my on my microphone just recently, so I'm not sure if you heard everything.
This is much better.
Definitely.
Was it clear? Okay. I was answering to the question why I joined this meeting. The main idea is that the main reason is that I would like to get more knowledge from you for the preparation of the zine of rhymes and verses that I'm going to launch in the beginning of October in the framework of this school of Bishkek Contemporary Art. And also, I would like to discuss the concept with you and with other colleagues here, and maybe to find other people who would like to join me in the development of this zine, because I wouldn't like to do that alone. Yeah.
Thank you, Sinat. Does anyone else want to introduce themselves? Сергей, maybe? Сергей, вы здесь?
Which might be a barrier for many of us, so maybe some people are quite стесняются, может быть.
You can also do it in Russian. It's I understand if somebody wants to say in Russian, it's totally fine. Just don't hesitate.
Yeah, so we have some people, they're introducing themselves in chat because they can talk. Some of the people are still at work and they're joining us from work. So we have Maria there. Yeah, and Rashan and Zulia, you know them.
It's so nice to see your writings. How should I say? I could not hear a voice, but yeah, at least I can see that you're here. Hey, Ravshan and Zulia and all the others, which I don't know so far.
Yeah. So maybe they can give us audio a little bit later. So maybe, do you want to start?
Yeah, we can start. So about I will say a few words about the structure of the meeting, and then we can start. So I thought that it will be interesting for you to start generally what are the zines and what do we mean when we say self-publishing and what kind of examples do we have. And then switch to the specific example. It was the community we started in 2015. And this, the way this community was developed might be interesting for you to see how you can do things without money when it's about self-publishing. And then we can switch to the specific example of ARALASH, which I see that it's one of the interesting topics for you so far. But so it's like 3 chapters, let's say. And after every chapter, you can just feel free to ask in the chat or just, we can stop and then we can start a question and answer session. So, Now I will start. So would you mind if I will share my screen? Okay, wait. I think it's this one. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Just a second, not yet, but it's starting.
Mm-hmm.
Всем привет. Hi everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Zul.
Sorry, I don't have a camera. So you can't see me.
Okay, so could you confirm if you can see the screen?
Oh, not yet. We can't
It's
see.
just dark. We see that you are sharing something, but it's dark, just dark screen.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is it, what kind of file is it? Maybe you can send it to me and I'll share it.
It's a browser. I'm sharing the Chrome, but it shows me that it's your sharing started. It shows me, but
Yeah.
So maybe I'll try it again. Just a minute.
Yeah, sure. Okay, we can see it now.
Okay, good. So let's start talk about self-publishing. So just to say briefly, self-publishing, it's not something which started in 20th century. It's something which started quite early when the printing media engaged in the different societies and different classes. So when we talk about self-publishing, it does not only mean like the zines, the punk zines on the very alternative movement, but it's something which started with the reclamations, like the statements and manifestos which artists or just people or peasants were doing like quite some time ago. And when we say self-publishing, it's important to understand that we say that people can organize each other, like organize themselves to express themselves through the papers. So it means that it could be a protest, it could be some statement they want to say, they want to start something against government, or they want to gather some information and share it. It doesn't matter, but it's like the way of self-publishing. But like, of course, as a the form of art, it established quite later, and most popular it became in 70s and 80s. When in like postmodernist movement, you had lots of artists who were making different products, and then they want to share it. They wanted to escape from the gallery spaces, and they want to take their works to the public, because, you know, like lots of artists stand behind the galleries and they are against of being exhibited in the fancy spaces. So the self-publishing was one of the ways to escape from it and share like even just pieces of papers with some illustrations or comics or just like typography compositions, just to give it to the public, like the real people, the people who are living in the ghettos or people who are living in a normal ways, and not just like a high class society. Yeah, so then, you know, like artists found it as a very interesting way to express themselves. And just to imagine self-publishing, art books, experimental publications are the ways artists could express themselves. So when we are talking about the different mediums of art, like installation or video art or even painting or everything you can imagine, the magic thing about the experimental publication is that everything somehow could fit inside. So it not only documents it, it only makes the catalog out of it, but it can actually create a new project out of the previous one. So does it make sense what I'm saying? So just to be more specific, what I mean is that if you have a project, if you have even unfinished project, if you have the project connected to the multiple media, it's installation, or it's video art, or it's, I don't know, woodcraft, or it's dolls, or whatever it is, it's a research. So book, and in this case, self-publishing is the way to spread the word. And then we will see a few examples of how it can be more connected to the different social classes. And now I will talk a bit more about the traveling art books. This is the community we started in 2015, me and my friend, because I was working in the book art center. And the organization by itself was more oriented in children's books. And we also organized one of the biggest book festivals in Georgia, in Tbilisi. So we decided, okay, we have lots of art books and we are very much interested. We want to do the workshops. We want to spread the word, and we actually want to create a platform. So this platform is very important in this case because we don't want it just to do zines or books by ourselves, but we want to do it like collaborative work, because this is one of the main profits of publishing, because you work with the different people and you come up with the core ideas, or even not, but still like you're talking generally about different issues, which is important and which is relevant for you. So we started this traveling art book, and we had like this very small, very beautiful cottage. And we decided, okay, let's just make one exhibition. We can invite people and tell them about the self-publishing, because there was no much information about it in Georgia during that time. Now it's way more popular, let's say. So we made this exhibition. We had few books from Germany. It was the Motto Distribution. It's one of the networks in Germany, Switzerland, and in few countries. I don't exactly remember where. But so they had books from the very different artists. It was the books about sound. It was the books about some researches, like very, very diverse topics. So they gave us some books after one of the book art festivals. So we decided, let's exhibit them. And we thought that, okay, we need to reach many people. So what we thought is, let's make exhibition once in a month in different places. So we did not have any budget. We did not have any money. So what we thought is that, okay, we go to the specific places where we want to exhibit, to interact with a different kind of people. And let's ask them if they can give us the space for free. But otherwise we could give them some other kind of like, make some kind of exchange, make a barter. So we got all the places for free. And we also help the owners or some other people to somehow interact with us. It was like collaboration, that we could take some of their publication, and these publications might be traveling together with us. So this is how we went on. We went to different places. We made a few presentations of the books we had, because most of the books were from different countries, and we wanted to make it more relevant to the background of Georgia. And as you see, like this is, for example, in a normal library, and we also wanted to interact. So we actually gave them around 50 books for them to make it because we didn't have like permanent place. So we needed to distribute some power in this case. And we also had different presentations about different topics. For example, during this time, there was a movement against one of the huge buildings, which our oligarch built. And we decided to also talk about this, because like books are not very much only connected to the arts, right? As I mentioned, it can be on a very diverse topics. And the way we wanted to interact with the different groups of people, that was the way. Like we were inviting green activists, we were inviting people from the disabled communities, and so on and so on. So we wanted like kind of everybody to see this as an option to express themselves. And then what we did is that, okay, like we have these books, but we also have lots of people who like them and who want to do their own books. So then we started like small workshops and consultations. We did not have that much experiences, of course, but what we thought, okay, like let's use our knowledge, what we have about like binding, good printing shops, find ecological papers, and so on and so forth. So everybody could come to us, and they can also bring their own self-made books, or it could be stickers, or it could be some like leaflets and so on, or Leporello books. So we could sell them on our exhibitions. This was actually, we didn't know that much about the marketing and how the sales work and so on, but we also, wanted to try. It went quite okay. Because like we saw that people started to work because they knew that, okay, every month I could sell my stuff there. And, you know, like art market is not that like popular in Georgia. So people don't go in the like galleries and buy many things every week or so. So this was one of the options in this case, like the way out that, okay, just make these crafts like on a very alternative way. And then we could just sell it. And then we went to Pasapagina. It was a art book festival in Moldova, and we wanted to participate because we had some workshop idea and also the exhibition. So we also didn't have any money, so we got like funding from Step Beyond. It's like grant for traveling. If you'll be interested, I can also send the link. It's for artists. And so we got this grant, and then we traveled there. And meanwhile, we also attended the book festival in Kiev because it was at the same time, and we could, So this is like in one of the spaces. We also presented few books, and we found out that this self-publishing is quite interesting for the people, like people even who don't have any idea what it is. They're just coming because they are interested in like paper materials, like paper matters. Okay, now it goes like I don't want to show all there are like many exhibitions, as you see, in different places. And we had sound events as well, and everything what we were doing was for free. Like the money we got from the sales, we were investing in the organization again. So we were buying some like these wooden shelves, what you see, we made it by ourselves. We bought it in a like very cheap market, and then we transferred these wooden shelves into a different shape. I will show you. Okay, I don't know where for example, this. So we are not only thinking about the books, but how to recycle all the materials. Okay, we don't have a sustainable budget. So what we need to do is somehow to, just reuse the materials, reuse all the resources, what we had. We also did 1 week or 2 weeks workshop in places called the Visual and Design School. And me and my friend Tamar, who is also a founder of the Traveling Art Book. And it's like the similar as it's happened with the ARALASH. So they came with their ideas. We had the workshop and lots of brainstorming about different thoughts. And then we put everything in a publication somehow. And we can talk more about it when we will go to the ARALASH. And there is just one thing I want to say, which is, I think, quite important, since I mentioned about recycling and so on. And then I will finish about the traveling art book, and then we can move to the Q&A. So we had quite a network of the artists after some time. So after like few months, people knew about us, and they were coming, and at least they were coming for the show or for the sound event and so on. And one of our friends had this project in the Center of Contemporary Art in Tbilisi, that she wanted to gather the old books and to recycle them. So we've merged these two events together. So we had the exhibition, our book exhibition, and people were coming and bringing old books they didn't need anymore. And then we recycled these books. We took it to the one small factory. I think this is the only one factory which recycles the papers in Georgia. And then we bought a paper, like with a discount from the same factory, which was recycled brown, very nice paper. And then we made a publication on that paper. And I think this was a very interesting action, because it's not only just like artists are gathering, but you are actually connecting like with a different like places, like you're connecting with the factory, with the people who just want to get rid of the old books. And so this is what I'm saying, that when we had been in this field, like self-publishing, we had a connection to the diverse groups of people, and everything was just on a voluntary basis. We didn't get paid or something, and we were just doing because we like doing it. And on the same exhibition, what we decided is that we had this like recycled juice, because these are the oranges which normally they get rid of it in the market. So we just brought them for free, and then we gave away free juices. And this is also, you know, these extra events gives a very good sensation and attracts more people. So if you'll start like making the second issue of the ARALASH, just be aware that make it more open to the public on a different level. And then we saw, okay, like we have so many recycled materials, like all these books. So we thought, okay, this is the space, just come and interact. So we had lots of these old materials, old books, very interesting actually. And people could come and make their own artworks in the place. And I think this was also very important, because they were coming, even at night, we were there till 12, and they were coming and they were making some kind of installations, like as you see. So it was, there was no curator or something. People were engaging in the space using these recycled materials. Yeah. And we had, of course, like presentations and so on. And just to finish this, we had actually the similar workshop in Moldova. So this is how people engaged with the recycled materials, as you see. Then we documented, and then we were thinking to make a big book out of it, but that it could not work out, unfortunately. Yeah. So, and just to finish, like the thing was that the traveling art book also went on exhibiting in different places, also not only in Tbilisi, but in Kiev, in Moldova, in Batumi, in different regions. And then at some point, unfortunately, like our plans got changed the direction, so I could not be involved that much anymore. So we stopped the project in around 1 year. I think the project existed in 1 year. But still, like for me as a just independent artist, this was like very interesting experience to go through all this road independently with your group of friends and organize everything. So every idea which comes, you just need to appreciate and just go for it. So yeah, this is the first part, I guess. So if any of you have the questions, I'm very happy to answer.
Can you maybe copy the Facebook address into the chat? So
Yes.
People can, yeah, have a look.
Okay, maybe I'll stop the sharing for a minute.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So you have named this thing traveling art books, yeah? And why traveling? Have you been like going from one city to another, or from one space to another? It's just interesting, the name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the initial idea, that we don't need to have one space to stick to the one space, and we wanted to travel. I mean, this is not the only reason, but yeah, at first we started to travel in different places in Tbilisi. So we sticked to even like in the open markets, and we went to some exhibition spaces or libraries, as I said. And then we also did 2 exhibitions in Ukraine and in Moldova. And then we came back and did 2 exhibitions in 2 different regions of Georgia. So yeah, the reason why we called it traveling art books was that we want to engage more people than the people who are just interested in arts. Because when you go in different places, you're engaging with a different people. So that was the reason.
And were you successful in engaging other people? What was mainly your audience?
You're asking if it was successful?
I mean, engaging not just the artists or like the usual people who go for galleries and artist exhibitions. Were other people also coming?
Yeah, because like, you know, the main purpose of the self-publishing is also that it's not only artists who can do it, but it can be just physician, or it can be, I don't know, somebody else who works with the soil. So we had quite some people who were interested and who were coming and saying, okay, I have this book idea, can you help me? And yeah, we were trying to help. And if like book by itself could not come out, we could do something like very small, like even small zine or so on. So I would say that, yeah, more people started knowing about it. But of course, it was not like super successful, not like the whole Georgia was talking about us, but still it was quite okay. But I would say that we could do better.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Thank you very much, Nina, for a very interesting presentation. I have several questions. Could you tell a bit more about the distribution and circulation of these things, and especially about the commercialization? If were there any cases of it? Because I'm thinking if in the case, well, not in the case, but when we will make the zine of rhymes or poems, what if we will sell them, and the money that that we collect, so that we can just spend for the creation of another zine, especially for the printing.
Yeah, that's
is this realistic?
Yeah, thank you. I think the money aspect is very important here. So in our case, the thing is that yeah, it's kind of quite complicated actually. Like to start from the very beginning, like self-publishing is kind of the competition towards this mass media and all this like you know, big companies and big publishing houses who can actually make like thousands of copies and then spread around. So in self-publishing, there is this thing which is super tricky, that if you're making like super handmade and like on a very, I don't know, different kind of paper and so on, the price of the book, like the per book, it rises a lot. So for the person who wants to come and who wants just to even like buy the book, it's not really possible. Like, let's say the person who has the average salary, let's say in Georgia. So once actually we did this kind of action, since we had few books which were only 1 copies, and it was only for the exhibition, we took like few spreads from each book, because it was made under 1 workshop, so we had few books, and then we printed the notebooks, like it also was recycled. It was like notebooks with the covers of the spreads from the art books. So it was kind of this gesture to the people that, okay, if they want to buy something, symbolically they could buy this notebook, because we could not sell the self-published books by themselves. So it is a big issue, and there are no many like self-publishing houses who could come and say that, okay, let's print this book for like even 300 copies. So just to get the money for the project, like if you have a project, for example, if you want to do this ARALASH and develop the idea, and if you write a project and ask for the money, and then it's like the best, because you can also make like spread the books as a donation, so, or just like for free. But if you want to fund your book by your own resources, it might be quite difficult. But another good thing with the self-publishing is that if it's only about the concept and the visual side is not that important, that you don't need to have this glamorous, very expensive papers inside and 4-color prints and so on, then you can make things on just like black and white printer and then spread it. Because, for example, like in lots of squats and like this alternative subculture movements, they usually do that. They print everything on their home printer and then just spread it. So just keep in mind that this is also a very cheap option. If you just need to spread the word and also make quite nice even sketches and graphics and so on. But if you want to have this like glamorous art book with different textures of the paper, normally in every place it's quite expensive. Like the case of the ARALASH, we had a budget for the book, and but we still came out with a very cheap option because we had recycled papers, like 2 different kind of papers, both of them were recycled. But then also, once again, there is another struggle with some printing shops do print on them, some of them does not, and then it's a big struggle. If you want something different out of this normal understanding of how the book printing goes, it might be full of challenges. So it's about experience, but I think in Bishkek it's still possible to have a quite cheap printing price.
Yeah, here it's problematic to print the books on this recycled papers. I saw the zine, which is we do not import that much of this kind of paper. But I have another question. How many copies did you print in ARALASH?
If I'm not mistaken, it was 60. Right? Do you remember?
I don't really remember, but not many.
Yeah, I mean, it was from 60 to 80.
But we will talk about ARALASH a little bit more in detail in some time, right? Okay.
Yes.
So maybe let's go on to the next part. Or Sina, do you have another question for the first part?
Yeah, I have another question for this other part. I can let them speak, and I'll be next.
Okay. So anybody else has a question connected to this first part?
Okay, then I can ask. I think, Nina, can you tell about the effect of the internet in the distribution of electronic versions of zines? Maybe you can send us the list of those platforms which we can use, where all the zines of maybe Central Asian or European zines are accumulated, and or you can just give us the links where we can publish our future zines, which will be helpful.
Yeah, we can also do that. Like in the end of the presentation, I can provide you with the few links. But just to say briefly, like connection with the internet, like online publishing and the zines by themselves, which are hard copies. I think that's a big difference, because when you're like most of this charm, let's say, of the zine and self-publishing is that it's something which is like with a low budget, which is something you can actually touch. And of course, there are also lots of online publishing, even like very small publishing houses who are oriented only in zines and like just experimental publications. But this feeling that you are touching the paper, it's also very important. So I would say that online publishing can't really fully replace the hard copies. And about the platforms, there are many platforms where you can upload the books, like that you can see it as a book, like you can browse it. And also there are many, for example, like I'm quite interested nowadays in this, there are only feminist zines, for example, and so on and so on. So it's just about the topics. I don't know if there's like platform where you can see all the books, but they're like few books, few web pages where you can find very interesting books. But still, it's better if you have a chance just to go and see physically.
Thank you.
Okay, so should we move to the ARALASH now?
I think Bermet is saying something, right, Bermet?
Okay.
We can hear you. No. So if you have questions and you have some problems with your microphones, also feel free to write your questions in the chat box, and we'll try to answer them. So Bermet is asking if you have something for children. And Maria is asking, how are things with contemporary art in Georgia? Are there any faculties teaching contemporary art?
Do you mean like books for the children, right? Or generally in the zines, if there are topics about?
Yeah, books and zines for children.
So this is like, as I said, the organization where I started working, the Book Art Center, was like studio as well, and they were working with the virtual publishing. So it was the name was Virgam, and they were working with the different publishing houses, mostly in Germany and Switzerland, and they published few books for children. And I can find them, but some of them are in German Georgian, some of them are in English Georgian. So it's not easy to find like nicely illustrated children's book in Georgian. But nowadays there are like few stories which are coming up. For example, one of the publishing houses, they published the stories of the Georgian girls, like the women who had been like not in the shade, and now there are stories about them for the children. So nowadays the things are changing, but I can also give you the links. I will note and I will give you the links of the.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe we can also make like a mailing list of all of the participants, and I can send all the materials together.
Anayum, can I ask something?
Yeah, maybe first I will answer the other question about the contemporary art. So we also have this similar kind of institution as you in Bishkek. So it's called the Center of Contemporary Art. So mostly if you want to study contemporary art, that's one of the places. But if it's specifically about some techniques, there is, for example, a creative educational studio, where you can also do any kind of project and you're studying the technique, for example, the video art and so on. So, and there's also this visual, like the photos I showed you, the name of the faculty is like visual design, visual. Anyway, it's belongs to the Free University. It's one of the quite expensive and prestige school. And they opened this faculty maybe 5 years ago. And they also have this contemporary art movement like direction in the studies. And in art academy, there is not like specifically the faculty which is oriented on contemporary art, but you go in like art history lessons. And if you are an art researcher, like mostly oriented on a theory, then you can also choose the contemporary art as your subject of the thesis.
Is the education in Georgian or in English, or a mix of both?
It's only in Georgian, I think. But okay. I think few of the universities might have some faculties in English. Maybe Ilya only because they have lots of these exchange programs. So I think they have, because some of my foreign friends had been studying there. So yeah, at least one university which does the art direction, they might have the English faculty. But I can check it out for you if you.
And we'll come in Georgia.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not promising that there is a good education here, okay? But yeah.
Sinat, you can ask your question, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I found that here is a opportunity to raise hand, so next time I'll use this button. I didn't know before. My question is, Nina, you as an expert of zines and who are aware of everything what's happening in the region, in the development of zines, are you aware, do you know any cases, any publication of zines related to pandemic?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, and if and also you're feel free to drop any ideas.
To what?
To drop any ideas.
Drop an idea. Yeah, the thing is that, as I mentioned, like nowadays my interests are not that much like connected to the self-publishing anymore. I'm not like just sitting next to my computer and checking some zines and so on, because now I'm working on more in ecology and feminism and so on. So I don't physically do things that much, and I don't know, but I would say I had been like passing by a few groups. Normally they do lots of there had been some grants for the artists and so on connected to the COVID, and maybe I passed by a few not even zines, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about the COVID, but I can check it out. Yeah. COVID zines. I'm pretty sure lots of artists during the quarantine and self-isolation, they produced lots of things, Okay, so should we move to the ARALASH? Okay.
Yeah, let's.
Okay, then let's share the screen. Okay, can you see my screen? Or should I do the...
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so I actually don't want to speak alone about this publication, because I don't think that I was just like, mentoring or just like, I don't know, facilitating the workshop, but I think the most work was done by the participants. So as far as I see, Kanaim and Zulia are here now, right? And Rafshan is on a chat.
Yes.
So I would be very interested to hear also your feedback and reflection, and I'll just say briefly how the idea came. So since I was more involved in, okay, let's close this. So since I was mostly working in self-publishing field, I was supposed to do my artist in residency in ArtEast organization. And so we decided that it was like Gulnara's and Muratbek's idea that, okay, let's make like this kind of common work, like the publishing together. And it was very interesting for me because before I also worked in a few different, like, maybe 2 or 3 countries where I just went there and just work with the local students or local young people who were just interested. And the publication by itself came out quite interesting. And for me, it was interesting to see how the idea, which is just coming from you, can develop as a project and then go to the publication. And the process went quite well, I think, even though like all the students have their own things to do, some of them were studying, some of them were working, so we could not have like very strict time management, let's say. But still we managed to come up with the ideas, what we want to do. So just to start from the very beginning, let's say that we are a group of people. We had been, I think, 13 in the beginning, and finally we stayed around 8 people. And so we talked a little bit about what is self-publishing and so on. And then we saw lots of examples. We saw like physical examples as well. And we had like few exercises that what are the visual side of these, what is the concept of that one, and so on. So this is how the workshop went. And then we say, okay, what are our interests now? So we see the examples, but what we want to express, let's concentrate on that. And then I remember we had this like just, this flip chart, and then we just like brainstormed the ideas. Okay, what we want to do. So each of us just brainstormed different ideas that, okay, I want to work on this one, I want to work on that issue, and so on. You could also work on the projects which you have not finished. And this is also very interesting part of the self-publishing, because, you know, we are artists and we have lots of unfinished projects. And sometimes it's nice to take it into the condition which can be put in the publication. And I think we also did that. Maybe Kanaim or Zulia wants to add some part in this process of the workshop, if you want to comment.
So I also remember this day when we all gathered and just had this big flip chart with all the ideas. I think most of our ideas were related to Bishkek, to the city, but then everyone had their own take on it. And like people, of course, had more than one idea, and then just we had to choose something and also maybe start working on different ideas, but then only one like was ripe enough for publishing or something like this. But yeah, it was nice. Like at the beginning, I was very critical that we would actually come up with an idea. But it turned out really nice.
Yeah, maybe there is one thing I want to add here. So normally when you start brainstorming about the publication, first you can choose like general topics. So in our case, it was Bishkek. So let's concentrate on Bishkek. But it doesn't mean that it can't be personal, because it can be, for example, personal trip of yours while you're walking in Bishkek, or it can be political situation in Bishkek, or it can be gardens in Bishkek. You know, it can be quite diverse by itself, but it's always nice to have some kind of umbrella topic and then just go and dig it out what you're interested in. Zulia, do you want to add something? Because you had quite personal projects, right?
Yes, I think that it was a great experience. I really liked it, and I also liked how we presented. It was very cozy atmosphere. You remember, it was very like nice. And my project was kind of without text. It was images only, and I don't know. I think that people were like, "What the hell is this?" Because they didn't really understand what it was, and it was related to the Book of Changes, Chinese book of what no гадание, like this when you predict things, yeah. So it was great. Oh, maybe Ravshan also wants to add something.
Hello everyone. Do you hear
Hey,
me?
Roshan. Yes.
So yeah, that kind of project was very special for me, and I feel very like with very good emotions and remembering with. And the very special I think I want to mention is that that kind of project just like gathered us all together, like all together. Even we had all different ideas of how it is gonna work and how it's gonna publish, but nevertheless we come as a one team, and I think it was really good premier example for us how to like manage in a like group project, come with a group project, because maybe our previous experiences was like just exhibition with different works and with different projects. So I was I felt very uplifted and encouraged and inspired by like future future zines. So
And now, like on Nini's screen, you can see Ravshan's pages in our zine.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, do you want, Rafshan, to say a few words about your project?
yeah. So my project was about like city's environment and the relations between people, citizens, and city. And was the first one is a real story about how people could manage and rebuild and make their space better. And and the second one was an illustration of Bishkek, some places of our city, and the idea was to give the audience like opportunity and vision to that everything is possible and you can really change the place you live in. And so I suggested to add some drawings and to give like some ideas of how you can improve um, improve the place, improve the environment you live around. So people could like really literally put some drawings into the pages and reimagine how they would like want to make some change.
Thank you, Ravshan. So I think that's a very good example to start from. That, as we said, like the self-publishing books, and in this case, zines, can be about anything, but also can be very engaging. And we have two very engaging projects in the ARALASH. One is from the Kanaim, and the second one is from Ravshan. And as you see, there is just like very raw sketch. But what the viewer can do is to actually interact and draw something what they wish for. And for each book, you have different ideas. So book is not something which is like, very far from you. You're just reading and having everything here, but you are connected more physically to the book. So you can actually write something there and you can draw something there. So it was our idea as well to make it like more engaging. And I think this page was transparent on the right. So I don't remember, maybe. But yeah, anyway, so we can talk about the papers maybe a bit later. And we have, so as you see, let's say a few words about the structure of the book. So, so as we start from the beginning, on the left side, you see that there are the names of the project and the page. So it's very simple. It's just, we have the names and we have the spreads because, like, it's not like, let's say, normal structure of the book, right? So for example, Kanaim's spreads, we are in a different places in the book. So we could somehow say that this is the author and this is the one project. So what we did is that we used this scolio. So with the name and the project name and the page. So you see that in these spreads, you have one project. So sometimes it's hard to, let's say, hard to connect these different spreads. Because as, for example, Zulia mentioned, people might get confused. They might say, okay, what the fuck is that? Because some artists don't want to put the explanations, and it's also fine. Some artists want to do things differently. So it's kind of a big field. It's a big field where you can play. But as Ravshan mentioned, it's supposed to be a group work anyway, because you have one publication and you need to structure it somehow that all the spreads are fitting to each other. And we have this one text of Kanaim. Maybe Kanaim, do you want to say a few words, or you can also add in the end if you wish, because it's like.
Sure, I'll say, one of my ideas connected to Bishkek was about a taxi and my rides in taxi and my talks with taxi drivers, because quite often I was using a taxi when I was going from work to the School of Contemporary Art, or I was working quite late and then I had to go home with a taxi. And somehow, like usually, taxi drivers kind of understood that I didn't want to talk, but some of them are very talkative and they're really interested in your personal life. And I also always felt kind of uncomfortable talking about my life with this stranger. But then I came up with the idea that I could like tell them anything and come up with tales and tell them these long tales. And so I did. So in our zine, I just decided to include a couple of talks I had with the taxi drivers, like examples, and also include this little game that will let the reader come up with their own tale that they can tell to the next taxi driver interested in their personal life.
Yeah, I think that was a very nice, engaging thing what Kanaim did, like her project, because it's, I mean, on the one side it's funny, right, that you are telling a random story to the taxi driver, but on the other side it has a very interesting concept why it is happening, why it was also the gender aspect here, right? Because you are a woman and somebody, in this case, taxi driver, is expecting that you're supposed to be married and asking the private questions, which you don't actually want to answer. So what Kanaim did was she came up with the abstract answers with just like, I don't know, funny story. And she's suggesting this as one of the way outs when you are tired of answering all the questions which are coming from the mails, that you can come up with some story. So
and also make it fun for yourself, you know, you ride in a taxi.
Yeah. So I would really suggest to make this game by yourselves, and you will see how funny it is. Okay, thank you, Kanaim. And yeah, we talked about the eruptions project. And as you see, like the topics are quite different so far. So we have one project which is connected to the interactive game and more to the gender and everyday life. And the second one is more the environment and the engagement of the citizens in your daily life, even in your imagination. How could you interact with the buildings? And then we have one project which is connected to a research. So this research was made because the artist, actually she was not the artist, right? I mean, she didn't really have the artist background. Then this is also very interesting to notice, because you don't need to have the artist background to make art books or make the contribution. So she did the research on Instagram, which was about it was like a survey, and that she wanted to see the statistics, how people were let's say who were the people, like group of people, like this focus group who had been okay, wait. People who are amateur painters, and they were making the drawings which had been like this, you know, like these black and white drawings, and what was the percentage of the people, where they were coming from, and why they were making this kind of drawings. Because the artist in this case, like herself, she was a bit critical about this topic, that making this very copy-paste, sketches of the people, because it was quite, on the other hand, it's quite commercial, right? Because you can sell it in your everyday life. You can even earn some money with that, to make the portrait of somebody and then just sell it. So she was wondering, like, what are the percentage of the people who are making these graphic sketches, and the people who are making these small, colorful and different kind of abstract or compositional drawings. So as you see, from the composition perspective, we also put this like together, like you have these the diagrams where you can see what kind of arts they do, like digital, traditional, portraits, paintings, and so on. And then you also have these questions here in Russian, and then you have the spreads which tells you, in this case, like visually, that this is this difference, what you wanted to show, like this very, let's say, a bit more conservative commercial way, and something which is a bit more expressive and a bit more modern in this term. So just to make the contrast. So this was, in this case, how the design tries to shows you the idea of the author of the project. And then we have one of the stories of Kanaim. So as I said, the Kanaim stories, talking with the taxi drivers, they are spread in the publication in different places. So you have it like here, and you'll have it like 2 more times, I think. And yeah, you should read the stories. Some of them are quite funny. And then we have, for example, the the project which is specifically about abandoned building, because I think it's like, as I said, few projects I've done in different countries. There is always at least one person who is interested to do a project about abandoned buildings. Because like when we are talking about the post-Soviet countries, this is a big thing, you know, like we are living in a post-Soviet countries. We faced in some rapid, weird development of our economics in Georgia, in Slovakia, or in Kyrgyzstan, in this case. And we also, like, in our everyday life, we go and see these abandoned buildings, right? And we have this, okay, maybe it's not we, but like, for example, I might have this feeling that the sentiments of what it might be there, and you have this feeling that there is something which is frozen in a time, but it also has a very nice history. So people are trying to dig it out or check the history in the archives or just take the photos and so on. So in this case, the artist tries to show this kind of sentiments that even though like Bishkek is developing rapidly, there are these new constructions, new buildings and so on. But on the other side, you have these abandoned buildings, even very old ones, and they are still standing there. And they're kind of these temples of the artists or people who are, you know, looking for inspiration, or photographers and so on. So yeah, so she was going there and she was taking the photos, and maybe you might also recognize few of these places. And they are quite stunning, as you see, like all the architecture. And yeah, so most of them are the photo collages. And it was kind of to show to the people that this is still exists and this is our part of our life in Bishkek. And so this was like this Pionerlager, right? And this statue is from there, for example. But believe me, it looks very different on a printed version.
Yes, I have a printed version in here. So like some of the pages are white.
Yeah, thank you, Kanek.
Most of them are these craft papers and it looks very different.
Yeah, it looks very different.
Oh, it's like this.
Thank you. So we have this small project about, yeah, this was a bit interesting because we started from somewhere else and then the project did not really come up, and then the author of the project decided to make a small poem. So just for you to know, this is a good example to see that even if your project has a work and doesn't fit to the zine, you can still somehow come up some alternative versions in the end. It doesn't mean that you don't need to make a good quality project, but just for you to know, if you are really eager to work for some group publication, don't make like huge researches and don't take this headache, you know, sometimes just to take things easy. And then, yeah. Okay. And then we have the Zulia's project, as she explained. And this is also very different on a publication, because like this right page, what you see, this one is on transparent, right? And so this one as well. And these prints are, for example, are made on, how you say in English, the offert?
Dry point.
Okay.
It's so сухая игла in Russian, and yeah, dry point, I think.
Okay.
So I just wanted to visualize. Back at the time, I was very interested in this book of changes, and I was doing a lot of like I was following this book in my life and wanted just to visualize how it's very it's like water, or maybe it's like wind, and every minute of our life it's unpredictable. So if like tomorrow we don't know what happens the next hour, and this Chinese wisdom is really cool, because they have created this book, and then it's very interesting. It's always very accurate to me, although there is a room for interpretation. But I think it was a really interesting thing for me. And yeah, just it's my cat asking for food. Can you hear my cat? But
Yeah, a little bit.
anyways, it was such a great project, and right now we want to do with this group of people, we want to do a new zine, and it will be all poetry.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's great. It's gonna be, I think, this was one of the most interesting workshops we had when we were artist students, and yeah, I plan to do more books. It's really interesting.
mhm. Wow. Yeah, thank you. So yeah. And maybe there's one more thing, that like she made all these symbols here by herself. So yeah, because like it was the differently interpreted in the book, and then Zulia came out with her own own understanding of the symbols. So this was a very interesting process, I think, when you're thinking about different elements, how you want to visualize them on a symbolical, like very, very simple way. And then we go to the second story of Kanaims. By the way, how many of you have actually read the book? Like the ones who have not been participants?
I hold this book on my hand for 15 minutes.
15 minutes, okay. Was it enough to see to read the stories?
You can read it
No,
online.
during our last meeting?
I don't know, I mean, in general, you can read it online if you want to.
I will definitely read it, but it was a meeting where we discussed and brainstormed, and that day we didn't have a chance to read. But definitely I will do. Do we have an electronic version? I think you shared that, right, in the Telegram?
Yes, it was shared, and now I also have sent the link.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
But it's not good to inspire for creating a new zine. That was my case.
Good. Yeah, so the next, we had one more spread in the book, by the way, who was like folding inside. So it was not like exactly like, for example, as you see, like you have this, I need to apologize, I don't have the original version. But
I can show it. It was the next page.
Okay.
This is like this.
Yeah.
And then the next page was opening.
Mm-hmm. So this is another reason why we say that it's very important to hold the zine, because the zine might have some surprises inside. Yeah, but really, because it's more pleasant. It's just more pleasant. It's a physical touch, and yeah, I don't know. For me, at least, it's like we say, it makes more sense. So this project has this spread. So what we decided is that we could not fit everything online. It's also interesting how you can make it an online version out of the book, which we had like in a different structure, because, physical structure is different and then online is different. So we put the text here and we put the few images here. And this is a very interesting project. It's the personal is political, and it's also quite connected to the gender and connected to the menstruation cycles, and how the women were, so the author of the project was making, like, sewing each of these pads, like this natural ecological pads, by herself, connected to the stories what these women were telling. So as you see, like before we had this, huge companies who are producing the pads and tampons and so on. We had women who had very interesting way outs, very ecological and quite sustainable way outs, how they were actually just use what they were using during their menstruation. And I think this is also very important, that not just only orientate on the future or something you want to say, like how we want to city, I mean, what kind of changes we want to have in the city or so on, but also to take the examples from the past and what are the experiences in the past, because we don't know much about our past, and what we know can be quite subjective and from the very narrow perspective. So it's important to dig it out a little bit, what was happening, and then just bring it to the people, because now, as you see, like, these are very beautiful efforts and they can be used, like, and I would love to use it. So you see, like, yeah, so this is a good example, just to take something from the past and just provide the information to the people, like nowadays, like young people and so on. And then we have one very interesting project as well, which is connected to the body language. So, and all these photos you see here and here are kind of hiddenly taken, because the author of the project decided that the body language which police might have towards the people whom they want to find is quite, I don't know, it says a lot. I mean, the way they stand, like the position of their leg, the way they are, like, I don't know, addressing to somebody else. Yeah, it's kind of says that they are way more dominant. They are the ones who have the power and not the ones they are stopping, because they can anytime stop a person and then find them and make some, you know, silly reasons why they stop them, actually. I had the kind of similar example in south side of Istanbul. They just stopped because of nothing, and then they find the driver. But yeah, so it can happen. So the author wants to put this thing on the table, that the way you are standing, the way you are expressing yourself through your body language, it actually shows what is your dominance here, what is your power here. So as you see here on the right side of the spread, here are the explanation of what means what, like what does it mean when you're standing still on two legs, or what does it mean when you're addressing to somebody with the open hand, and so on. So you can also read that one. And then we have the third story of Kanaim. And then we go to the last part of the Kanaim's project. And as you see, and as Kanaim mentioned, the questions you have from the very beginning in the book, you're answering. It's like very random questions, you know, how many cats you had when you were a child and so on. And then you're putting that answers in the end of the book. So this is how we thought that to connect the very beginning of the book and the ending of the book. And I think it was very interesting. I remember this day when Kanaim came, we were sitting in the kitchen and she was like, okay, Nini, I have this new idea. Let's make a game. It was like very nice, you know, like she came through all the way to this project. I even don't remember what was our previous version, how to put it in the publication. But then she just came and just, let's make a game, you know, like there are these very interesting stories. And I actually want to, engage with the society. So, and yes, you see here, it's like, let's say formality. No, in most of the publications, you have this like, blah, blah about how the project was created, and a few logos. And then we also put this QR code, and because the survey which you saw, it was like a second project. Yeah, the second project. So you can actually go and check the survey from this QR code. So it's also the involvement, but on a digital way, you know. Yeah. And yeah, so that's the end of the book. And we had as a cover, so as we said, we maybe let's say a few words about the papers. So we had this brown paper, recycled, very nice, and we have few transparent papers because Zulia's project was very specific, and we come up with the idea, let's put few transparent papers inside. We had one spread which was folding inside, and it was a little bit difficult to actually print it and then put it a little bit more, because normally people, you know, they are just putting everything, binding, and then cutting. So normally you can't do such a fast thing, and you need to be very careful with the spread which is folded inside and so on. And I think one of the most important part with the ARALASH is that the cover as well. The cover is just like very thin cardboard. It's also recycled, so it was white outside and it was gray inside, or other way around. I think we had both. Or yeah. And
we were very sad that we couldn't have it brown on both sides, but we had to put the white side inside.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And the last and very important part was the binding, because the publication itself, it was not that big. So we thought, okay, let's use the sewing machine because it's cheaper, it's more beautiful, and the, you know, like the amount of papers could actually go under this sewing needle, or how you call it. And so we went to the bazaar, and we found one very nice woman, and so she sewed all our books together, and she spoiled a few of them because she was very confused, you know, because normally you don't sew books with a, you know, sewing machine. So but I think it was a very good decision. And also about the presentation, we had, as Zulia mentioned, in a very cozy atmosphere. And I think it was also very important that, yeah, you know, let's just have tea and let's just sit down on the carpet and let's just talk. And it was not like official presentation with these crazy white lights when everybody's having the wine. So yeah, I'm also very happy about this project and the people I met. And yeah, so now I'll be waiting for your questions about ARALASH.
So I think I also want to add that you actually had a huge involvement with everything. Of course, you didn't do all the projects, but you had to like manage everything. And I remember our discussions of like in what order to put the projects, because since we have some pages that are transparent for Zula, then she has to be in the middle. Then we have this project that has to match with this white paper on the other side, and everything is kind of complicated.
Yeah, this is also very interesting. Like when you were actually making a hard copy, like the model maquette of the book, this is also a very important part. Like when you will start working on your new zine, just to be aware that everything goes to the physical book, and always have the idea that, okay, if I want this paper, it doesn't work like that. You need to actually acknowledge that there is somebody else who might have some problems because of that paper, so on, you know, like just to be aware that this is a group work. Maybe that's the main point. Yeah. Okay. So who has the questions?
I had a question. It's very interesting that it have like double version with the craft paper and just printing version. So I think it's also very interesting to see it like together, or I don't know. Did you plan to download also printed version to online, that people can see how it looks like in craft?
No, we did not do that, but it could also be an option. It can also be done. But there is one thing, like with, you know, when you're printing a book and then you are scanning it, it also needs some kind of an editing. Because if you're just putting like some kind of layer in the InDesign, for example, that this page is brown, it doesn't have the same effect. But if you're scanning, it's also okay. So for me, sometimes it's better to have the information clear, so on white, but to have this surprise that, okay, you need to check the hard copy, because this is the main charm sometimes of the zine. So yeah, it's kind of directs you that, okay, this is what you get online, but there is something totally else what you get offline. Yeah, but it's also a nice point sometimes to have all the versions, you know, like scanned version maybe.
Oh, can I add? So after the words, we also had another workshop with a art historian from Ukraine. She is from Kiev, and her name is Lisa. And so she also wanted to do ARALASH, the second one. So actually, this one will be the third one. And the second one would be about paintings in the museum. And we described our favorite paintings in our arts museum. But the thing is that we never really completed this second ARALASH. And we always missed you, because there's no one who can bring everyone together like you, and and still it's like in the it's in design and in PDF, but still we cannot have a presentation, and hopefully one day it will happen. But we're already thinking about the third one, because it's just maybe not very realistic to have the
Why don't
second
you
one
finish it
finished.
now? Yeah, why don't you just bring and show us? Maybe we can finish it, finalize it together.
Yeah, no, I think it was Aitegin, and he is right now he's into very much into music right now, and
Yeah.
I don't know, it shouldn't be that difficult, but we are not we're not completing it for some reason.
But
It's
so
very
do
bad.
you have the PDF version?
Yes,
have
we
the
have it.
content. I think the only thing that is missing is like the final edit, like just everything,
Okay.
and the cover. Yeah, but actually it was ready like a year ago or something.
Wow, it's very. I didn't know that you did the second edition. That's very nice.
But it was not only the description of paintings; it was also the interview with yourself. So we were like
Okay.
playing a role of the interviewer, and we are interviewing ourselves. So it's like a two-part project.
Wow, I will be very interested to see. So please send me when you're done, or even now, as you wish.
So I saw that actually, I think we presented our first ARALASH on October 23rd, 2018. So in a month, it will be exactly 2 years. So hopefully the second one will be ready by then.
Ah, yeah. maybe that's a good reason to finish it.
And then we can go on to the next one.
Nice.
Okay, any
So,
questions?
yeah.
I don't have any.
Ага. Давайте. Сенат, у тебя вопрос был?
No, I don't have any. I just wanted to clarify, Kanaim. So after that, we gonna talk about the school of Bishkek school, and then the zine of rhymes, or what's next? Just to calculate my time. I'm sorry.
So I think like if we have more questions, we feel free to ask or write in chat. And if you don't, we can actually talk about our future projects.
Oh. Can I just say briefly, ask briefly about paper, because as I know you used to craft paper, but as I know after, because I also was searching, and these people told me that it's just crafted, it's not recycled. So I don't know. Did you find maybe the place that it was really recycled in Bishkek?
So the paper, what we found, it was, it's also called recycled paper, but it's not fully recycled. They still put a little bit of, I think, polyethylene, but it's a very small amount. And the reason why they do that is that they were using this kind of paper for the packaging. So if there was something liquidy or something, it doesn't come out. But it's not that strong either. So it kind of doesn't really make sense. But it's way better, this paper, than the other recycled papers. But normally, the papers which are offset paper, so the ones which goes for the offset printing, they are recyclable, which means that by itself, it's way more ecological. But if it's like first-hand paper, which are, you know, these white offset papers, like Xerox paper or something, so this can be recycled paper, but it's like first-hand. So first-hand papers normally, are causing lots of different kind of damage. And when we have a different kind of papers, why not using them? So sometimes the best option is to use the newspaper paper. So newspaper paper is already recycled, but the problem is that it's very thin. So it can be for example, I think we were also looking for it in Bishkek, and it was only 80 grams. So 80 grams is, sometimes very, I mean, you can't make actually like color print on it, because it will be like make these waves. So yeah, but I would still support this craft paper, because I think this is one of the good ones. And if you have some paper, some text, for example, you can print on this newspaper paper, which is very low in grams. Like,
Thank you.
can we have like 5 minutes break and then talk about the projects?
Yeah, let's have 5 minutes, and then Sinat will present us.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good.
So I'll see you in 5 minutes, right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'll talk about this Bishkek School of Contemporary Art. Why this platform was initiated, and who we are, and what kind of activities are planned, and what's the prehistory of it. So we, the graduates of this year of School of Contemporary Art of Artists, like me and Sergey, who are in this meeting, and the previous alumni of the school, like Kanayum, Ravshan, Bermir, we all together initiated the school. Bishkek School of Contemporary Art is like an integration platform that works on the principles of self-organization. What that means? It means that everyone can participate and contribute as they wish. For example, you can use this platform if you have an idea, and you can hold series of events on contemporary art in Bishkek or in Central Asia, or you just can come and listen every time you have a link to join. So we see that this will be an open platform where everyone can join. So there is no director, there is no one who is responsible for everything, there is no single facilitator. It is, I will repeat that this is a self-organized platform for promoting the contemporary art in Bishkek. I find it very cool. So so this we call it shortly БиШСИ, Bishkek School of Contemporary Art. The БиШСИ platform. On this platform, everyone can participate, practice art on the level of mediums, or realize any artistic gestures or acts, events, whatever. Events will be conducted both online and offline. some meetings with invited guests from other countries like you will be held in English. So recently we launched an Instagram account. I will share the link a little bit later. Bishkek Art School, and also we created, thanks to Ravshan, a Telegram channel where we will publish also our annotations of the upcoming meetings, and we'll talk more about this event, how was that, and share interesting links. And I have to underline that we launched it on an I'm sorry, we launched it on an experimental basis. We launched it on an experimental basis. So we have a certain number of events planned till the next year, which is quite intensive, and how it will develop further, it depends on us. I'm sorry.
And we have very young participants in our Bishkek School of Contemporary Art.
Yeah, two at least.
Yes.
And I'm sorry.
Intergenerational.
Then you get me more. She's quite active.
Yeah. So maybe Bermet, maybe you want to say something, or Sinat, are you continuing? Okay, Bermet, do you want to add something?
We all are involved on this school on volunteer basis. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, that's basically the idea.
I brought something very interesting. She will be playing with, so now it's okay. I gave her something very interesting. Yeah, and what kind of events we have planned for the coming 3-4 months? We have planned the meetings with actors from Central Asia, with artists from Chicago, through Bermet links. They're gonna do lectures on contemporary art. Even we have a blog on contemporary music in Kyrgyzstan, which will be realized with the help of Sergey. And in other meetings, for sure. Today's meeting is the first one with you, Nina. So we can отпраздновать, да? The launch of the of ours.
Celebrate. Let's drink.
Celebrate. We will remember it, I think, forever, and maybe we'll, in the future, we'll say, do you remember our first meeting? Because the first experience is the sweetest one. Agree? So this is very shortly about the school. If you have any idea, questions, maybe others can add. Vermet, Kanarim, Ravshan, Alima.
I think we have mostly people from our community in here, so we'll probably have an idea. But Nini, you're welcome to join whenever you have time, when we'll have talks. So I'll send you the links.
Yeah, that sounds very inspiring, actually. And since you're organizing everything by your own, and you don't have like some, some leaders or so on, and you don't have this hierarchy, and you try to just do it on a grassroots level, it's very nice. I really support the idea, and good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope we also will make one platform where will be all schedule uploaded, because now we almost have the schedule until the end of the year, and maybe it's comfortable to check, like, for sure that maybe something is interesting. So for example, Diana, who she will make her project that will be dedicated to the week against violence in November. So I think it will be also the several meetings, like interviews with artists from Bishkek, and yeah, I think it will be also, and we also sometimes once we did some kind of it was Zoom session about drawings. So we just gathered together and everyone make some drawings, and it was also very interesting. So we will definitely experiment with different format, and from the beginning of the year, from February, we run the School of Contemporary Art mostly for only our students, but now it's open for wide audience. So we will continue our meetings, and it mostly about actors from Central Asia, from Bishkek, but we really interested in the people from other cities, countries, I don't know, planets will join us. And yeah, and also it's where it from one side like can be theoretical work, so we can work on like theoretical concept like critique of contemporary art, like the institutionalization or decolonization, about feminist art, I don't know. And it also can be practical, so we can do something together like an exhibition, or for example this third edition of Zine, because I hope soon we will publish announce of post more information about third edition, and everyone also can join us and send their ideas, concept drawings, etc. So I think it's very it will be very dynamic platform, as I can see, and I'm very happy that we do it together. Yeah, thank you.
Just one thing I wanted to say. I think it's very interesting what you said, that like everybody can participate, because for example with the zines as well, there are some platforms which are just posting that, okay, this year we have the topic, or this month or so on, about, let's say violence against women, like the topic. And then people from different places, different, like countries and so on, they can contribute. And then they're choosing what they will be published. And then they're making the issues. So if you will go on that direction to make like scenes every, let's say 6 months or so, you can have also this structure, because it can actually work quite interestingly, because you might have the connection in different countries, or even just in Bishkek, or in Kyrgyzstan by itself. It can be quite interesting, because people who even can't come physically, but they can attend the lectures online, and then they will be more like I don't know, like more involved in the process with their contribution. And if you'll find some fundings for the publishing, then it can go just like smoothly. And I'm pretty sure you will be like a core group who can take the responsibility of the design and like how to put the context and so on. And then you can invite lots of people as the contributors, and it can also enhance your visibility on an international art market and so on. So I think that's a very good idea to, like just to run it on some purpose and just have the structure. Because if you want to start design, it's always nice to have like more future plans and then just publish one. Because as you see, like it's sometimes hard to put everything together and then actually make the products visible. So if you have it from the very beginning, but we want to run this zine sustainably, then you can also make like crowdfundings or like, you know, some donations, since it's not that expensive to publish it, or you can just make online publications. So you just need to upload it online and that's all. So it's just something to start with. And yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think, yeah, that's why we also wanted to make this open call, that people from our group or outside can also send us something. And yeah, we will see how it works and how the team works, and then maybe we will try, of course, make it regularly, because it will be already third edition, so why we shouldn't do fourth?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a thing which normally might causes the trouble, that okay, once you've done it, and then you still have the ideas and you still have the motivation, but sometimes there is like lack of some time or lack of skills of just put everything together and so on. So if you're already formed group and you have such a nice like timeline, then why not? You can just go for it and you can react on the everything what is happening around you. I mean, even if you leave the topic Bishkek, it's a lot to, you know, like respond to. And yeah, I can also support from my side. We can talk about it later.
Thank you. Okay then.
Someone had something, I don't know. Is a last chance.
I have a suggestion on this very nice note. We can smoothly talk about the zine, the upcoming zine. What do you think, Anai?
Sure. Do you have a particular idea?
Yeah, as suggested by Dermit and noted on this timeline, we wanted to talk about the zine of rhymes. Or is it zine or is it zine? How is it right, Nina?
I sometimes say zines, but zine is generally correct. But zine, I like zine more, so I say zine. It depends which language you want to say. But in English, it's zine, I think.
As I shortly told before, we are thinking to publish a zine of rhymes, poems, which will be mainly about the poems. Maybe we will add something about their authors briefly. I don't know yet, but the main idea is that to collect the rhymes of Kyrgyzstan authors. It will be in English, or I'm sorry, in Russian and Kyrgyz only, and with some illustration. What I see is that maybe there will be a brief introduction about the people who created this scene and about the school, Bishkek School of Contemporary Art, in the framework of which it is created, and what else? As Zulia mentioned, we are going to make an open call and gather them. We have already a lot of people interested, and how the idea came. First, we were really inspired by the zine that you created. Actually, I have never heard about the zines before and about samizdat, about this. That it's possible. Before I published books for various projects, which was funded mainly by certain social projects, but never thought that it's impossible to publish something personal or unofficial, or something just to share the idea you want. So we have a lot of authors in Bishkek and in the regions who do compose rhymes, poems, but for example, I have an aunt who do that, but she loses them. And it's so silly that such talented people never publish their works, and we would like to see that this zine will help them, allow them to speak to the world with their rhymes. Because we have almanacs, official, I would say, books of rhymes, but not everyone is choosing there, and I think it's quite silly. And I hope that this zine, upcoming zine, will help them. If we will receive for more than 50, a lot of, I don't know, maybe we will divide them into 2 books, because I think it's not that good if the silly, or if the zine is quite heavy.
Just one question. So, do you want to have unknown authors inside the zine, right?
Up to now, no idea about that.
So, I mean, you want to have these young people, or like, as you said, your aunt, like the woman who writes, but she, like, her talent is somehow lost, right? To give the possibility to the people who can't have an access to the like big printing shops and so on, to give the platform to them, right? So this is the point of making this zine. Is this right?
I can clarify. Actually, this zine will not be printed because we don't have any money. It will be published only electronically. But who knows, in the case if we will find someone, or someone else would like to contribute the money for the printing, for sure we would like to do that. But up to now, we are not really concentrating on the printing. We see that it will be electronically published, shared, circulated, distributed.
But I'm talking more about like how you're choosing the people. What is your criteria? Whose poems will go to the zine?
Yeah, actually, this is the question I would like to discuss with colleagues, and I would to get your advices too, because the concept in general is very raw. I was thinking about maybe we will choose only the women authors, or girls, or children, or maybe we will gather the rhymes on specific topics. Up to now, we haven't discussed, we haven't chosen any how to say that, borders, criteria for that. I thought maybe in the beginning we can just take everything and have gather a commission that the certain people who will choose which rhymes will be added to the zines. And by the way, Nina, I have a question. Will it be a really zine, or it will be an ordinary book? What's the difference? Because I thought that zine is something that has a voice, or a certain that's delivered to the public, while the idea that we are talking about zine of rhymes, it's just a collection of rhymes.
I mean, the main difference is that zine is more self-organized, and it doesn't have much in common with the general publishing world, because it's more like alternative and it's independent. So it don't need to be something what like public wants or something, you know. It can be just like few people expressing themselves, like in your case. You can also call it book. I mean, there's no big deal about it. It's just the shape can be like a book, or it can be zine. It's actually not like a big difference anymore, because you can call book to anything, and you can call zine to many things as well. So don't get stressed about that, what is what, and to fit into the
Okay, and maybe other colleagues can add, say their ideas, or just raise their hands about the if anyone can join.
During our discussion, I thought maybe we can make this zine about like woman power. I don't know, resistance and etc. And maybe we can dedicate it to this days against violence and present it. I don't know if, but if we will not have time to make it until December, so maybe it can be presented
I
even
think we
after.
have time. If we will announce an open call in the beginning of October, I think 3 weeks is enough because I already met so many people who would like to share their own rhymes. And if we will wait for 3 months, there will be too much of the rhymes. It's gonna be a big book, which I wouldn't like. So I think if we will give 3 weeks for the a collection and 3-4 weeks for the layout and illustrations, design, cover page. By December, I think we can publish and present it in one of our БиШСИ meetings. Why not?
Yeah, because also Diana will have some, probably she will also can contribute. I don't know, we can ask her, but I think that we will have something really, I don't know, actual.
Trendy.
Relevant.
Relevant and urgent.
Yeah, nice idea. I also thought about that actually. I tried to give a hint regarding the feministic topic to relate it to that. And I thought maybe it will be related to pandemic rhymes because during this coronavirus quarantine, I know that a lot of rhymes were created. Maybe we'll choose them more. Maybe we will just make a zine of the quarantine stories, some illustrations, some icons related to the pandemic. Plus, more maybe not only dedicated. How to say that? Since I'm quite tired. Not just ограничиваться стихами. We can think it's still an open question.
Yeah, of course. And I also thought during our discussions that it will be nice to like collaborate artists and poets. Like maybe artists can make some drawings on different poems, and it will be also like art, very like artistic from one side and poetic from another side.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
It
will require more time, definitely.
Not actually to make one drawing. It can be one artist, one poet, one drawing. So it's not necessary to make very big, like very complicated story. But I think it's quite possible. It can be very simple drawings, like.
Very nice idea. Or maybe we can realize both of them. First, we can try on the publication of a simple rhymes, and then we can make this kind of project combine artists and the authors. Or also we can make a zine on certain topics related to girls, power, etc., or to pandemic. Or we can make illustrations by ourselves. As you suggested, you wanted to illustrate the rhyme that you sent before. So we will think. Maybe Nina, you have any advices? Maybe we are on the wrong way, or maybe you can suggest us the easy thing, or you can share us the concept. Because for today, I really feel difficulties in writing down. These words describing the announcement in the mean, maybe you can share anything that would be helpful for us, because I see, for me, it's easier to make a layout in design, to make illustrations, and then binding these words all together for an announcement.
Yeah, no, I think you are not on a wrong direction. So what I would suggest is that you might have like thousands of ideas, okay? Like you're young, you're creative, you have the things which are just coming, and it can be feminism or it can be COVID, or you can make projects about very many different topics. Normally the problem is not to have an idea, but the problem is to realize the idea. So in this case, as I see that you have like few raw ideas, I would suggest to make it like more concrete, make it more specific. Like if you're oriented, for example, if you have this specific deadline that for the December you want the project to be released, then just take very specific topic, like let's say poems of the women, and you can even I don't know, it can be like also very different, but you can say that the women who are more than 40, for example, just give a platform to the older women. But like some of them don't use the social networks. So what you need to have is like you need to ask around whose grandmother or whose whatever is writing the rhythms, and then just gather them, for example. So just for you to know, if you want to go to the zine, first you need this research part. So research, of course, first you need the topic. So if the topic is, let's say, feminism, or it's about like, I don't know, texts or rhythms or novels about the against of the violence, or if it's, it can be also very diverse. So the more specific you are, the better results you will have, because it won't be just like spread around like ARALASH. No, ARALASH, we had a good thing, but like we had also more time in this case, and we had more tight schedule. Since you have more online connection, you need to be more specific when you're asking people on an open call to send you something. And I also support the idea which is connected to the COVID. But since you want to match like these two topics together, it just one thing came to my mind is that I was working on a few podcasts recently. It's like a feministic podcast, and one woman did one podcast which was about how the violence towards the women increased during the COVID-19, since they could not get away from the house. And like this place became more violence because there was more space for the aggression. People could not express it outside, So this could be also, so this is very specific topic, for example, the violence against the women during the pandemic, right? So this can be also like, for example, the specific topic, or it can be something else, like just to combine these two to go together with the Diana's project as well. So it's actually up to you. So I would suggest if you just sit down and also brainstorm everything what you have, just say everything what you need to say, and then just make it narrow, considering the dates, like the deadlines what you have, or some ideas which are coming, that let's say 2 years anniversary of ARALASH and so on, and make it simple. This is also very important. Like Bermet, you said that you can make the collaboration, but from the beginning, I would suggest that you can do it in the next issue. But like from the beginning, you can be the ambassadors, ambassadors to take the voices of the people and to share it to the bigger public, because this is the main idea of the of this Bishkek contemporary art platform or center, how you call it. Yeah. So maybe that could be a good step for you to come out public and say that this is the first project that we are gathering the idea about specifically this, and then you're organizing these materials. You can ask them to, and also be specific what you're asking for. So if you're making a call and just asking people to send you the rhymes, this is like one thing. But then do you want to have some visual materials as well? Just think about all the aspects, because some people might have visual sketches, right? So do you need them or you don't need them? And yeah, so be specific about the topic, be specific about the techniques or the mediums, and dates. And be aware of, if you have 2 participants, what is happening, and if you have 50 participants, how you're managing the book.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
But I really support the idea, and this is very nice project what you're doing. And just start from the very simple, because if you start a big project from the beginning, then the motivation might disappear a little bit if you burn out. So start with the very simple, just collect the rhythms on the specific topic, and then you will see how it will go, how you will see how the very simple project and what kind of effort you need to put to make it realize. Because sometimes it's not that easy as we think. So just to make it, like, start the project from the very beginning and finish it with the zine, it's it's quite a process. It doesn't matter how simple it is, but it's still a process which needs to be done. So if you'll start with the simple, then you can go further more. Yeah.
I have a question to our colleagues. What do you think? Which sizes would be nice? 20 pages, maximum 30 pages. What do you think?
I think we should start from the volume. I think it depends on how many people would like to participate and how this initial idea will transform, and then we can adjust the length of the volume to the content.
But for definitely, it won't be 100 or 200 pages. I think not that big.
I mean, if there's a lot and there won't be that many anyway, I think then we can just have it split into several issues. Which is
Okay. Okay, thank you. When it will be finished, we call it in Kyrgyzstan Nini, we will send you.
Okay, thank you. I would love to have even a link, and then if you'll print the hard copy as well.
I don't have any questions, anything to add.
Okay, then. If no one else has questions, I think we can finish. Yeah. So thank you, Nini. It was wonderful to see you. I hope it was interesting and illuminating for everyone. You sharing your experience and talking about self-publishing and zines and creating the first ARALASH. And in the worst case, it was great for me to remember our fun times 2 years ago. It was really a great experience, and I hope someday we can repeat it, and we'll see each other offline as well. So thank you again. It was great. And thank you everyone for participating in our inaugural event of Bishkek School of Contemporary Art, Bishkekskая Школа Современного Искусства, БиШСИ. And we hope that we will have many more events, and they will be just as interesting as this one and just as inspiring as this one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm also very happy to see you all, and I'm actually very happy to hear that you have such a nice new initiative, and I would really love to wish you a good luck and just to keep yourself motivated. And since you already chose the platform and you already have so much, and you are a woman, you can do everything.
Not all.
Yeah, but like as far as I see, the more active you have women. But still, anyway. So yeah, good luck with that, and I will send you all the links I promised to Kanaim, and then she can share. And yeah, just keep it going. I'm proud of you. Yeah, it's very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was really great.
Okay.